Good morning. This is Bill from Auto Europe in Naples on a lovely, cool and crisp Florida January morning. I'm absolutely chipper, and I'll tell you why. I mean, the weather in July and June and May and all the way through pretty much October is just miserable and humid with mosquitoes the size of sparrows, and it's just nasty. And all of a sudden, season rolls around and the weather is fantastic. It's crisp, it's 60 degrees outside, there's no humidity in the air, and it becomes an absolute paradise. So even with all the construction next door, the hammers banging away and the concrete dust everywhere, the irritating things in the day like Little Richard, the sales guy, and of course our world famous detailer who shall not go mentioned. I am a pretty happy guy, and even though I have this 2018 Lexus ES 350 sedan, which frankly, the Lexus ES has never been a favorite of mine. I'll get into why in a minute. If you go back in time, all right, in 1924, a company called Toyota Motor Industry, or not Toyota Motor Industries, just Toyota Heavy Industries, some kind of industries, started by a guy named, I think it was Sakichi Toyoda with a D. And he was apparently a pretty clever guy, an inventor. In fact, is known as kind of the king of the Japanese inventors. And he had created a loom, a power loom, using, all the new electric and steam stuff that was just incredible. It revolutionized the way cloth and textiles were made. And used this, I can't remember the Japanese name for it, but this philosophy that if the damn thing broke, it just shut down. It didn't keep going and make things worse. And anyway, that comes into play later because the Toyota car company started using that same system on their assembly lines. But anyway, fast forward about 12 years, 1936. I think I actually have that backwards. It's 26 and 34, so it's 8 years forward. His son, Sakichi, I believe his name was, don't hold me to this. I'm terrible with names. I can tell what car you drove 10 years later, but I'll never remember your name. Anyway, his son was kind of tired of trying to pick up the ladies at the bar, saying that he was in textiles. They just weren't very excited by it. So he took his dad's money and started Toyota Motor Industries. And he did pretty well with it. In fact, it went on to become the 6th largest company in the world, the 2nd largest manufacturer of automobiles, and continues on today as a pretty well-known brand. You've probably heard of Toyota. And in the 1980s, Toyota decided to get into the luxury car market. And now here's why Lexus really doesn't have any kind of, glorious fabled history. It's basically the result of a $1 billion investment in, the idea that this, small Japanese car, well, giant Japanese car maker, known for small, efficient cars, would get in and start competing with the big boys like Mercedes, BMW. So again, Lexus was just a $1 billion investment in engineers and marketing experts and gurus, and they created a very, very successful brand, of which this is one. So let's get into this for a minute. Now, I've done reviews on other ES sedans in the past, and I've taken some flack for it because I explained to people just how much I hate them. They are the antithesis of a car guy's car. They're not really designed for people who like driving. They're designed for people who think of driving as a task. You have to get from point A to point B. It's unpleasant, but you have to do it. So you may as well do it in a tremendous amount of comfort, style, elegance, and with very posh surroundings. And that is why these cars exist. So they handle fine. They're not gonna, oh, for the love of God, my phone is exploding on me. All right, and I've got whistling over there. That's just terrific. He's gifted, that fella. Anyway, so it's not really for people who enjoy the act of driving, the steering, the braking, the cornering, that sort of thing. It's the way a BMW is a driver's car. It's a little bit stiff-sprung. It handles well. The Lexus doesn't do it to the same degree. I mean, it's not going to put the door handles on the pavement or anything when you're taking a corner, but it does not have the same sporty feel. The Lexus engineers have chosen comfort and control, and well, control is not the right right word, comfort and softness and, you know, plush ride over all the sporty stuff. This is the 6th generation ES. It's a car that came out in the 80s, the late 80s, maybe early 90s. Has always been Camry based. It's one of the you know, few Lexuses that just continued to be Toyota. In fact, the first ones really did just look like rounded off Camrys. There was very little difference, you know, to the untrained eye. Of course, that's changed over the year. And by the 6th generation, it really shares more with the Toyota Avalon than the Camry in terms of dimensions, wheelbase, that sort of thing. You know, it's funny how I'm just so impossible to please. I'm always crying about car companies using dumb names for their cars. You know, like it started with Mercedes and BMW with the sort of the letter and number system, and then we better all have a letter and number system. So, you know, Lincoln went from making cars like, you know, the Versailles and the Town Car to the MKZ, and you know, just sort of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, do people really want that? I miss the names Eldorado or Sedan DeVille or El Camino, you know, and they're, you know, Toyota's trying. They give us a Camry, an Avalon, a Prius, a Sienna, and I still hate all of them. I think they're even dumber names than Volkswagen. Anyway, nobody cares what I hate, which is a lot. You can see the styling of this car is quite sleek, quite modern. It's got that sort of controversial Lexus spindle grille in the front. You know, that's sort of a love it or hate it thing. A lot of people seem to love it. I don't, but a lot of people do. Sort of a judicious use of chrome and swooping LEDs. This design had a facelift in 2015, so it got modernized. Finished in a very attractive taupey, beigey color. Not sure what it's called, but it's quite lovely. It's got just a hint of brown to it, you know, not the same old silver. Very nice, attractive, stylized wheels with Michelin tires on there. Again, you know, they don't use giant wheels and tires. They use wheels and tires that are going to give you the best ride rather than the best grip. So that is just the way this car is themed all around. Let's start inside the trunk. See, I just don't know these cars. I mean, there must be a way when you swoop your foot under it. Or, no, let me find the damn keys. There has to be a way to open it with a button. I can't believe that you have to either have the keys. Look at these keys. All right, press and hold. And there it is. Okay, so, oh, it's an electric trunk. God, Lexus has gotten into that now. All right, back here we have a very nice sized trunk befitting cars in this class. Remember, it's competing with the 5 Series and the E-Class, which both have enormous trunks, so this thing better have a pretty good one. It's got this cool little net that you obviously can fold up into a little bag, so you deploy it when you need it to hold children, infants, dogs, you know, shopping, weapons, whatever it is you want to put in there. And then I guess when you want, you know, tired of it, you can just stow it in that bag and put it away. It's got some sort of a Lexus accessory match. You've got some sort of toolkit underneath there. There's your original floor mats. You know, it's a trunk. It's just a trunk, but it's fine and it holds enough stuff. It gives you a nice beep when it comes down. And have a look under the hood. Not many surprises with this car, you know. I get the feeling Lexus, they just don't like to surprise people. And it will be very unsurprising to find a 3.5 liter, 268 horsepower V6. You know, not coincidentally, when this car came out, or this engine came out, the E350 had 268 horsepower, so, interesting. It's a smooth motor. In fact, it's exceptionally smooth, probably much smoother than the, you know, comparable Mercedes or BMW 6-cylinders. It's designed to be quiet, you know, very vibration-free, and give the drivetrain this sort of detached feeling, you know, that makes it very posh and luxurious. You can see everything nice and proper under the hood. Again, 14,000 miles on this 18 model, so it all looks like new, which is what you'd expect, and everything just lovely under there. This motor is mated to a 6-speed automatic that has, you know, just imperceptible shifts. I'm sure there's a way to shift it manually if you want, but don't bother. It knows what gear it should be in better than you do, at least for the way this car drives. So, you know, again, a very, very smooth drivetrain. Also, by the way, this is front-wheel drive, which is unusual now for Lexus. Most of their stuff is either all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, or, you know, yeah, I don't know, I guess there's a front drive RX, but less so and less so. Anyway, so a front wheel drive platform with a reasonable price this thing had. So it's competing with the 5 and the E, but for considerably less money, which is kind of part of what made it so so successful. #1 selling luxury sedan in the country. Back here, absolutely, I have to say, you know, beautiful. Lexus has always used really nice materials in terms of their leathers, and this one is just gorgeous with this dark mocha and the lighter brown. The seats, I don't know if they fold back or not. I have to look. I'll have a picture of it if they do. You got a little armrest here to put stuff in. It's got cup holders, nice. But anyway, very, very attractive. Plenty of leg room. Also with the little knee cutouts they do in the Mercedes. And everyone's going to be chipper back there, even the Canadians. You know, nice treatment on the door panels with the leather, the stitching, the piano black trim. A little bit of, is that wood? It is wood. It's very dark wood. You know, nice, good materials. It's Lexus, so it's just going to last. It's, you know, it's a back seat. No different from any other company. This does have a keyless entry system, so you can lock it by hitting that little indentation there. Open it just by putting your hand on the handle. And you can see this one also has a driver assist package, so you've got your blind spot stuff there in the mirror. Okay, up front, beautiful leather seats continue. Again, with the mocha and the brown, very nice combo. You see they're perforated. That is because they are heated and cooled. You've got the prerequisite wood steering wheel denoting a luxury car. Okay, am I falling asleep? Oh no, I mean, not really. I mean, this could be the interior of a car with a great performance drivetrain, so, you know, it's fine. It's good. It does what it's supposed to do. More piano black, more wood. A little bit odd to see the combination. Usually it's one or the other, not both. You've got all your memory seating stuff there. Door handle feels a little chintzy, to be honest, more like a Toyota than a Lexus, but I'm sure it gets the job done and doesn't break. Little place to put stuff there on the side that the detailer didn't bother cleaning. You got all your seat controls here, your lumbar, your backrest, you know, all very proper. All right, now when I fire this thing to life, this is where Lexus sort of really differs from the German makers. They love wowing you with gadgetry. So my steering wheel has already gone down, and I'm going to press the stop button and watch all this stuff fire to life. Okay, so your gauges, the backlighting comes on, the screens come, it does all these swoopy, you know, hilarious looking self-tests and you know, displays for how cool it is, and then you have in front of you, you know, a very well laid out, easy to read instrument cluster, even if that center information thing is a little bit busy. It looks like and the steering wheel is a little bit busy. I mean, it's got buttons everywhere. For an old guy like me, that can get hard. But anyway, we'll get into it. So over here, your mirrors in a fairly unusual but reasonable place. You've got, what do you have? Automatic lights down there. Your blind spot monitor, you can turn that on or off, presumably. All your releases for the hood, the gas, the trunk. What's in here? Look at this. This is more Japanese stuff. A little clever compartment to hide a little bag of drugs or something, and nobody's going to know it's there. In the RX, they used to put the mirror control behind a thing like that. First time I drove one, it took me like 7 solid minutes to find the mirrors, and I was ready to shoot somebody. Anyway, very nice leather and wood steering wheel. I like the way it works. I love that they put the wood down there too with a little bit of leather thing. It's not like other wood and leather steering wheels. Sort of a simulated leather covering on the dash with stitching. All very nice. You've got Lexus's N-Form system with this kind of weird and ridiculous mouse thing. When you fire it up, let's shut it off and do this again. I think this thing pops up and pops down for no good reason at all. Well, it didn't do it that time. I could have sworn this morning when I fired it up for the first time, that thing popped up like a couple millimeters, so I'll keep my eye on it. Anyway, let's see what we've got with Lexus's N-Form thing. So you do have this mouse steel, which is very much unlike any other car. You can direct access the menu, and now by moving this thing around, I'm doing it like a mouse, which, oh God, I'm not exactly in love with. But there it is. So anyway, there's your nav. If I go in reverse, we get, there's a camera. Go back to menu, we can get into having the radio. That'll give you, let's see what we have, source, AM, FM, satellite, Bluetooth, iHeartRadio, Sucker Radio. What does that say? Slacker radio. Oh, yeah, that must be millennials. Auxiliary input, you know, whatever. All very nice. There's all the different audio sources you can have to entertain yourself. You go back, you've got your Bluetooth phone. You got your climate control stuff, the seats, the direction, the temperatures. Thank God all of these features, or most of them, are duplicated with buttons for old people like me down here. So I can just directly push buttons instead of going through menus to find what I let's do a Lexus app suite. Let's see if we have Microsoft Outlook or Excel spreadsheet. We can do a stock, sports. You can do a Yelp review on this car. You can, oh, I don't know, whatever. They've got apps. Everything's got apps now. There's more of them. Movie tickets, yeah. Should have golf courses. It's a Lexus, for God's sake. Up here, you've got a self-dimming mirror, HomeLink garage door openers. You've got all your controls, your SOS button, your sunroof. I don't know how we open that. There it is. It goes back nice and easy. Lovely. In here, in your glove compartment, are the owner's manuals. Now, I hope you've got time, because this is like 14,000 pages of owner's manuals. I mean, I have no idea why Lexus thinks you need to, who's going to read that? I mean, this is like a 900-page book, several of them. And I mean, you could start reading it today and, you know, be done by the time you're trading it in. Anyway, good luck with that. You've got your radio controls here, in-dash CD, your climate stuff. Down here you've got your heated and cooled seats, your heated steering wheel. This gives you the rear sunscreen. See that coming up? Nice. You push this guy down, you get a cup holder. Yeah, it's fine. Good. Here's your different suspension settings. Eco. There we go. Presumably that's going to help us save gas. Push for normal. Normal. Who's normal? Or then we go into sport. And look at that. Everything changes to red over there. So we're going to keep it in sport. I'm sure that's an exciting place to be. Look at the enter button on this. This is just so weird, man. Nobody else has this. This cup holder here, and in fact this one, it's the perfect example how Lexus takes like a cheap design, which this is. I mean, you know, this is not one of these German over-engineered cup holders that's going to break in 10 seconds. It's just, you know, the same one you'd have in a Chevy pickup truck, but they've made it lovely with the wood. This one they've made nice with the soft materials. You know, so they've taken a simple and reliable design and made it just a little bit nicer, and I suppose that's what this whole car is about. If we're talking about the Toyota Camry and its roots in the first generation. And then when you go in reverse, the screen goes down in the back, so lawyers have nothing to complain about. And away we go. Now, I know the sport mode stiffens up the steering, so the resistance is a little bit more. Let me go back to normal. Yeah, I mean, big actual difference. You know, when you're in sport, you really get a lot more steering feel, or at least engineered steering feel. When you're in eco, or sorry, normal, it just, you know, it's that typical use your pinky type effort that you might have had on a 72 Cadillac. And that probably is the correct way to drive this car. I mean, let's not pretend it's a, you know, sporty 5 Series going around the Nürburgring. I mean, this is a Boulevard Cruiser. You go to Whole Foods and get some couscous. All right, so there's a little bit of juice out of that 3.5. So again, I mean, it's not a total slouch. The 0 to 60 time, I believe, is in the 6s. You know, quarter mile time, probably as fast as the old Firebird I had in high school. And, you know, that's fine. It'll merge into an on-ramp. It'll outperform, you know, quite a few cars, you know, that are slower, you know, probably that Acadia. And that's all fine, has to be able to do that, but again, just not the point. You know, I'm in a cushy car. I could put on my heated seats, my heated steering wheel. I've got my windscreen up. I can't hear the engine at all. I can't feel any shifting. It's just absolutely seamless. The steering is light, the brakes are light, and, you know, driving has become quite comfortable. I'm encapsulated in a well-insulated car that doesn't let in a lot of road noise. I've got, you know, thick Michelin tires under me, kind of soaking up the bumps. The suspension's soft enough to soak up the bumps, and I can accomplish my daily task of driving without too much bother, and that is the point of the Lexus ES. So, yes, okay, not my kind of car in the sense that not really built for performance, but, you know, I get it. I understand why people like them. I understand why many, many people buy them, why they outsell the E-Class. Well, that's money, that's cheapness. Oh, I'm kidding. But there it is. It's just a great car, and nice, easy car to live with, nice, easy car to get around in. This is a 2018. Man, interesting story on the car. Was traded in by a guy who bought it like the beginning of this month and had traded in a Mercedes convertible on it and determined very quickly that he couldn't live without a Mercedes or a convertible. So he found one we were selling, traded it into us, and now we have it. So it's got like all of its CPO warranty left. You know, he put on like 180 miles. You know, the paperwork was still getting done at Lexus when we took it in. So if you buy this thing, you're going to have a lot of warranty left. You're going to have a great price because it's not in my wheelhouse. And frankly, I'm going to mark it cheap to get rid of it and move it fast. Great car. 239-298-8000 on the web at aenaples.com. Thank you so much for having a look. We appreciate it. We'll see you with the next one. I'm going to go back into the apps and see if I can find a safe space. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.